Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider. 10 years down, 1 semester to go.
We'd like to tell you today that we intend to move on to a new chapter of our lives.
What kind of legacy will USC's First Lady leave behind? As long as the Pastides family has been on campus, the same dorm visitation rules have been in place even longer. Students are seeking something a little more inclusive. But first, how the university is cracking down on alcohol consumption. Carolina Insider starts now.
Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider, meet the new face of USC's therapy team that has everyone smiling. Also, find out how Richland County is helping kids learn how to read. But first, see how one local elementary school is fighting childhood hunger.
I just love them, and I want to make sure that they have everything they need to have, nutritional-wise.
Carolina Insider starts now.
Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider, find out about a new and innovative way to get meals delivered directly to your door. Also, a local area is planning to get a new look within the next few years. But first, the country is mourning the loss of the 41st President of the United States. Carolina Insider starts now.
Hello, and welcome from inside the Kennedy Greenhouse studio. I'm Jordan Ferguson, and this is Carolina Insider. Today's top story: North Carolina's bathroom law is making waves across the country. Critics of the law are gaining traction this week as major corporations are pulling plans to add jobs in North Carolina. Meanwhile, in the Palmetto State, Spartanburg Senator Lee Bright has introduced a similar proposal. The proposed bill requires people to use the bathroom that corresponds with their birth gender. Senator Bright told WYFF News in Greenville, quote, "It will keep cities and counties from being able to force business owners to make accommodations for folks and allowing men to use the women's restroom just because they have gender identity issues." Both critics and supporters voiced their opinions at a recent committee meeting.
God only created two sexes. He created male and female. God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
When she revealed herself to us in second grade, she decided to wear fingernail polish to school for the first time and was worried that she was going to be made fun of. I came to her class that day to help other children with their lessons wearing nail polish myself so she would not have to go through this alone.
While the bathroom bill is still in the works, some LGBT groups have something else to celebrate. Gay-straight alliances across South Carolina came together to throw a prom for LGBT high school students at the South Carolina Children's Museum here in Columbia. Thanks to $4,000 in donations from generous businesses across the state, Youth Out Loud at the Harriet Hancock Center was able to throw the Starry Night-themed prom unlike normal proms. Students from the 9th through 12th grade could attend. The prom was the first of its kind in South Carolina, and Youth Out Loud coordinator OK Keys said it went well beyond expectation.
Originally, in the grant that I did not read, it was just supposed to be a tiny gathering of about 20 to 30 youth at a church. And I was like, why don't we just go really big? And it turns out that that was actually possible.
Youth Out Loud hopes to make LGBT prom an annual event in South Carolina. Recently, a group of USC public relations majors partnered up with Palmetto Animal Assisted Life Services to launch a campaign to make student veterans feel comfortable back here at home. As South Carolina Insider's Tori Moore tells us, PALS is making a huge impact in the lives of veterans right here in the Midlands.
U.S. Army veteran Brad Carrico spent 18 years in the Army. He was deployed 3 times, twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. Like many veterans, Brad suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. But it was during those trips that Brad discovered the healing power of dogs.
Most of the time it was a Harry deployment. We'd come back and we'd all just kind of sit around and my dog would just walk around them and you would see them pet him up and you could just see the relief come back over him and I knew that that's what I was going to need for myself.
So upon returning from deployment, Brad reached out to Palmetto Animal Assisted Life Services, or PALS for short, a service dog organization here in South Carolina.
Brad was matched up with Dutch, and they've been together ever since.
Probably the best 2 years of my life so far. He has actually woken me up in nights from my nightmares. I guess they've gotten so bad that he would jump up and nudge me or somehow just try to get me awake so I'd stop screaming or tossing.
These nightmares seem obvious when you see what Brad has gone through.
With devastating effects.
Brad was inside of that building when it was blown up by a Taliban suicide bomber. Scenes like that have made it difficult for Brad, but Dutch has been there even in the darkest of days.
I've actually tried to commit suicide twice and failed, obviously. But now that I have him, it's a whole different world. I was empty. There was really nothing there. It was just a body. If I didn't have a service dog, I wouldn't be here today.
Now turning to sports. One of USC's own is making her way to the pros. Carolina Insider's Kelsey Richardson has all the details in today's Garnet Report. Kelsey?
That's right, Jordan. Tiffany Mitchell will be taking her talents out to the Midwest. The Indiana Fever selected Mitchell as the 9th pick in the first round of the WNBA draft. Mitchell is the 3rd Lady Gamecock to be drafted in the first round, and the first under head coach Dawn Staley. Coach Staley was there alongside Mitchell's family to congratulate her on the new chapter in her career. The 3-time All-American finished her time at USC with 139 career starts, and of those, 121 wins. With the Garnet Report, I'm Kelsey Richardson. Back to you, Jordan.
Thanks, Kelsey. That's it for this edition of Carolina Insider, a production of USC's journalism program. Until next time, I'm Jordan Ferguson.